which was after Daniel from the Bible, although it could be Daniel.
Imaging's not helpful. And, it's like many from Australia, where they looked at two outer healthy hormones and your weight goes up, the size of your brain goes down, which should scare the fat off anybody.
Size and function of your brain.
Size and function
I've heard
of
you say
your
that
brain.
many times.
And because the fat on your body is not innocuous, it increases inflammation, it stores toxins, and it takes healthy hormones and turns them into unhealthy, cancer-promoting forms of estrogen. And so if you just think about that one thing by itself, our food, I actually think is responsible for almost half of the mental health challenges in America. There's this fascinating study from Australia where they looked at two outer islands. One of them had fast food restaurants, the other one didn't. Oh. And then they looked at their omega-3 index, and the island with fast food restaurants had significantly lower omega-3 index and 5 times the level of depression. Mm-hmm. Think about that.
Yeah, of course.
Just with the food.
There was some kid recently that went blind from eating Pringles and French fries because he was so vitamin deficient. He basically had xerophthalmia, which is from vitamin A deficiency. I mean, think about it. Junk food is going to make you blind, not just fat and demented and diabetic.
Well, and that's one of the reasons I'm a fan of multiple vitamins, because we're basically a vitamin deficient society with deficiencies in magnesium and vitamin D and choline and vitamin B and C, B's and C. And so I just think it's a smart thing to sort of hedge your bet. 97% of the population is low in omega-3 fatty acids. They have suboptimal levels. I actually did a study of 50 consecutive patients who came to our clinic who were not taking fish oil. 49 of them had suboptimal levels.
I mean, it's striking when you start to look and test, which most doctors don't. I mean, you actually are scanning people's brains. I scan their bodies through testing that looks at all these variables that most doctors don't look at. Right? How many doctors look at omega-3 levels in your body? Most don't, but it's essential for my practice because I can't tell what's going on if I don't know what's happening.
No, it's 25% of the membranes in your brain are made of omega-3 fatty acids. And so if they're low, your brain's not going to talk very well to itself.
Yeah. I mean, if you're listening, I think most people, and I think this is true, I've seen it in my family, I've seen it in my patients, most people with some type of mental disorder, there's a stigma. There's a sort of a blame game going on. And there's a shame about it. What your work is really doing is stopping that, saying that's just nonsense. It's like, would you shame somebody for having cancer or diabetes or an autoimmune disease? No, you wouldn't. You would try to sort through what's going on and look at the biology. And that's what you've done. So tell us why people suffering from things like depression, anxiety, bipolar disease, ADD, panic disorders, bipolar, schizophrenia, even addiction, why should they be hopeful now?
Because if they see it from a brain perspective, what we've learned is you're not stuck with the brain you have. Probably the biggest advance in neuroscience over the last 20 years is this concept of neuroplasticity, that you're not stuck with the brain you have. You can make it better. And every day you're making about 700 new hippocampal cells. So the hippocampus has stem cells, and the hippocampus, is Greek for seahorse. So every day you're making about 700 new baby seahorses, and your behavior is either helping them grow or it's murdering them. And one of the things I think is really interesting, my 16-year-old daughter, she and I'm 65, we're both making about 700 new baby stem cells in our hippocampus. Hers are more likely to stick around than mine because of blood flow. So new research, brain cells don't age. It's your blood vessels that age.
Yeah.
So anything that damages your blood vessels damages your brain. So if you know how to increase blood flow, so things like exercise and ginkgo and beets and rosemary and pepper. I mean, really simple things can actually help improve the function of your brain.
Ping pong, that's your thing.
Table tennis, but you're not stuck with the brain you have. You can make it better. And most people don't know that. I was just in Florida.
By the way, Dr. Amen is a mean table tennis player who whips my ass every single time. It's embarrassing.
Any sports, you don't live long.
Tennis players live 7 years longer.
If you play football or soccer, you don't live longer than anybody else.
Because you're butting your head with the ball.